Welcome to another movie plot and enjoy the memories. We open with the quarterback Cayden playing in a very dramatic game of college football. His girlfriend Lisa cheers him on from the grandstands alongside the rest of the town who don't seem to question his supernatural abilities. One of the rival players headbutts him during their game, so Cayden does all of this in a fit of rage and nobody thinks to raise an eyebrow. He simply receives a stern talking to by his teacher for caving in another student's helmet, then sent on his merry way. His mother worries about his nightmares, which is understandable because it features her being torn apart by a toothy humanoid. What he's yet to learn is that Cayden's a lycanthrope, or he probably wouldn't be bringing Lisa to some makeout sesh on a full moon. The passion causes him to wolf out and not be able to prevent himself from attacking Lisa, but his heart isn't in it, so she's able to get away. Making a complete transformation into a cow-licked wolfman, Cayden runs home where he immediately passes out. There's no wondering if he just dreamt everything in the morning, as Cayden wakes up to find his parents have been murdered by a big friggin' dog. On top of that, Lisa's reported him for assault, and since detectives can't tell that these are claw marks, he becomes the prime suspect. Now on the run and trying to keep his killer instincts under control, Cayden learns from a news report that he was actually adopted. One unfortunate night, Cayden comes across a couple of bikers laying into the local lot lizard. He transforms to save the girl, and just to affirm that he's the good guy, doesn't even kill the thugs until after being shot at first. The victim runs away without so much as a thank you, while Cayden steals one of the bikers' rides and sweet leather jackets. He takes it to a bar in the next town over where Wild Joe must be able to smell the wet dog on him because he reveals himself as an ally. The smelly stranger talks about a pack of their kind living nearby in secrecy, but says they're vicious and did this to his face. He's convinced to point the boy in the right direction, but disguises it as a bar fight and dart thrown at a map as he's clearly terrified. It leads Cayden to a small Midwestern town called Lupine Ridge, where the only form of entertainment is Angel's Bar, so that's a good place to start. We meet multiple patrons including the pack leader Connor, but it's all rather vague on who can smell if he's a werewolf. The young owner Angel inherited this place with her sister Gail when their parents died and takes an immediate attraction to the new guy. It's not long before Cayden rejects some instigating floozy who runs off to tell her boyfriend that the stranger just grabbed her butt. Deke's looking to start a fight and brought along the whole cast of Deliverance, so Cayden quietly departs to avoid becoming the squealing pig. He then waits outside in the bushes to confront the watered-down half-breed who thinks that transforming will scare him. The unimpressed pureblood is much stronger than Deke, and we get to see a wolfman piss his pants before running back to his banjo. A local John Tollerman overheard Cayden's looking for work and gives him a job on his farm, where we get thrusted into a montage. Things are going great as nobody questions how Cayden can hurl giant hay bales around and scare livestock with his mere presence. One day Connor shows up to size up the new guy, but Tollerman covers for him by claiming that it's his nephew. Connor can smell that Cayden's from one of the original bloodlines of werewolf, but wants to find out which one before killing him. The following day they find the sheep dead, and John thinks it was wolves, but Cayden only has salad at dinner as he's already tried the lamb. As the reporter comes on TV to talk about Cayden being spotted nearby, he turns it off and leaves, as that's sure to quash suspicions. He returns to Angel's and outside meets his shifty cousin Carter, who isn't trying to sell anything and just wants to warn him that Connor is dangerous. He then slinks away, and Cayden takes his words into consideration by completely ignoring them, as we learned nothing new. While the orphans bond over not having parents or something, the bloodthirsty pack takes Carter out to the woods to interrogate him. Despite having an empty tin anyway, the rock-solid Carter doesn't spill the beans, as he holds a resentment towards Connor for exiling his brother Joe. Unfortunately, he doesn't survive the night though, as the pack run him down as wolfmen before baking him over an open fireplace. Cayden and Angel smell fresh blood in the air, as she's also a werewolf, so they go to check it out, hoping that it's not one of her friends. They watch from a ridge as the pack eats some well-done Carter, and when realizing that it's just the town weirdo, they leave with no sleep lost. Upon returning to the farm, the Tollermans have learned Cayden's real identity and reveal that most of the town are all half-breeds anyway. Purebloods, and especially descendants of the first 4 families like John, are rare because they couldn't resist crossbreeding with the human population. The tale goes that one of the purebloods named Lucinda rejected Connor, so he forced himself on her, meaning that the large Samoan would be this little guy's father. Clearly taking after his mother, she secretly gave Cayden up for adoption so that Connor would never find out, and took her own life the following year. Connor began to spend more time in wolf form, which messes with his brain, while building up a kennel of degenerate crotch sniffers ever since. Unfortunately, Angel's the only pure-blood old-line female left in town, as her sister's an alcoholic and can barely transform enough to grow sideburns. Angel agreed to give Connor a pure-blood baby so that he doesn't murder everybody in town, but he needs to be quick or else the new guy's going to beat him to it. Cayden and Angel get Harry together, as he's actually able to sleep with this girl, unlike others who would run away at the slightest sign of a little blood rage. After possibly making her impregnable, the pair meet with the Mayor Robinson and last remaining pureblood Larson from the other old line. He's terrified that Connor will come down from the hills to slaughter them. Also, Cayden's had enough of it and marches over to the campsite like, "What's up?" He thinks revealing that Connor's his father will protect him, but Eyeballs over here, who wants a pureblood son, just orders his pack to kill his own pureblood son. Cayden takes out a few of them with non-lethal attacks, and we answer the question of how many half-breeds does it take to defeat a pureblood. I'd say not a lot, and while he's about to be killed by Connor, he scratches his face to get away and hurls himself off a cliff to avoid certain death. Cayden breaks multiple everythings before coming to a halt, and a few minutes later Wild Joe pops out of nowhere like some wrestling coach. He shouts encouraging words from the sideline until Cayden gets up and staggers back to the farmhouse, where he wakes up still beat up from the night before. Unlike a half-breed, he can heal himself simply by wolfing out, but it hurts too much, so he needs a little adrenaline from Angel. They then go outside, where he finishes off the healing process by running a few laps around the paddock, and poof, no more scars. Deciding to fight smart this time, everyone begins building explosives with fertilizer and gunpowder to bury around the farmhouse. In what seems like a missing scene, everybody gets captured off screen and Cayden's invited to a werewolf wedding, for a polite way to put it. Connor has the family members in a cage and the bride tied to a tree stump, but it's preceded over by douchebag Deke, who I don't think is an ordained minister. He says a bunch of crap anyway, so let's say it's legit when Cayden arrives just in time to slice the sentries' throats and crash the party. This time he doesn't just try to fight and freeze Angel before taking the pack away from the campsite and back to the farmhouse. Angel wolfs out and does whatever this move's called before killing Deke to break her sister and the Tollermans out of the cage. She remains there for whatever reason while John returns to the farm and somehow makes it there before everyone else, as Cayden must take the long way. He gives the gang one last warning to leave, and when they refuse, most get blown up by John shooting the various explosives planted beneath their feet. He also shoots Connor's lieutenant in the head instead of the leader himself for plot's sake, while Cayden lures him into the obvious trap. Once the remaining gang funnel into the barn, they're sealed inside and John blows up his pride and joy, which must hurt the farmer to do. All except for the pureblood dies, who leaps out of the flames for the final showdown, as it always comes down to father and son with these wolfmen. The two tear each other apart and the lead changes about 10 times as neither seems to have the upper hand and John presumably just watches. When Cayden finally defeats Connor with a few scratches and the Trojan special, John's like, "Do you want me to shoot him now?" But Cayden's like, "No, you've done enough." Returning back to his human self, Connor reveals that he didn't force himself on Lucinda and only took the fall for it so that her father didn't kill her. He went off the rails when she died anyway, but never got as crazy as Wild Joe, who orchestrated the prodigal son's return as revenge for being exiled. He pulled a King Arthur by turning the estranged son against his father, but accidentally let slip that he killed Cayden's adoptive parents. That doesn't matter anyway, as he's just too weak after the long fight with his father to do anything about it. Connor draws attention away from his son by making fun of how he ate Joe's brother the other night, so the cycloptic wolfman rips out his throat. With his last bit of life, Connor manages to damage Joe's leg before bleeding out, while Joe turns his attention back to Cayden. John finally wakes up and fires a bullet into the villain, but then conveniently runs out of ammo or just forgets how it works. Cayden runs down a fleeing Joe who's limping because of his father's elbow drop and tackles him back into personhood. Giving a long justification for what he did, Cayden ignores it and just tosses his cigar on a bomb hidden at his feet. It blows up before Joe realizes, and he's scattered into a million pieces while Cayden didn't step back enough and gets a little rattled. He requires another nap time revival, and the next day they just pour a little dirt over everything and it's good as new. Angel wants to visit literally anywhere outside of this crap hole, no offense John, so Cayden's given a copy of their family tree before he departs. The products of keeping it within these 4 families leave Lupine Ridge on the stolen bike, with Cayden still wanted for murder. And the movie ends.